Today, we have a true pleasure. We have Franklin Templeton. We're going to be discussing LVHI with none other than Jeff Silverman. Jeff, thank you so much for jumping on the program.
Sure. My pleasure to be here, Daniel.
So this is the perfect opportunity, the right moment in time to talk about volatility, not only here in the US, but also all around the world. And that's why I'm excited to have you here talking about LVHI and kind of let's just kickstart from the beginning. We like to give kind of like the overview. Would you mind just talking about the strategy of LVHI and how it focuses on our broad markets, focus on income and managing volatility?
Sure. First, thanks for having me. And you're absolutely right. There's no better time to be talking about a strategy like LVHI. The macro backdrop is perfect and exactly why we designed LVHI and its cousin LVHD to begin with. Well, to start with, in technical terms, LVHI, it tracks an equity index that comprises equities of developed markets outside the United States with relatively high dividends and low volatility, while also hedging currency exposure, attempting to reduce volatility further. If I expand upon that, LVHI really delivers on three main components to a portfolio. Diversification via international stocks, which may be driven by different economic forces than domestic stocks. Two, high sustainable dividends with the potential to support your income goals. And then three, risk mitigation, right? Designed to deliver positive expected returns over the full economic cycle with lower correlation in beta to your risk assets. So that helps reduce your drawdowns and ultimately helps accelerate the recovery of your portfolio.
Now we're going to double tap more into each of these sectors here, a little bit of the currency hedging as well as, how the index is approached. But when you talk about the outside markets, you specifically focus on the developed markets and not emerging. Just kind of the case, why was that selected?
Sure. Interesting that you asked that question because we did launch an emerging market version of the low vol, high dividend suite, very similar to the LVHI ETF. It was hedged back to the US dollar as well. But due to lack of growth or interest, it was delisted back in spring of 2020. I think when investors think of emerging markets, it's in the risk budget for higher octane, and lack of interest is no surprise. So we delisted it.
Makes total sense. So let's talk about specifically LVHI again, this index. So you have the Franklin International Low Volatility High Dividend Hedged Index. What factors go into considering the makeup of the index?
Sure. Well, we start with the index, 3,400 largest international developed stocks. And in step one, we screen for sustainable high dividends, right? We want to find companies that have earnings exceeding their dividends. Number two, low volatility. We look at the vol of price and earnings. We measure that. And also countries with high interest rates are adjusted down to mitigate the costs of hedging, right? That could be very expensive. So we look back at the vol of price and earnings. And then for earnings, we're also looking forward to make sure that, again, they can sustain the dividends and are also in a low volatility category. Steps 2 and 3, sustainable high dividends, low volatility, delivers a combined score that ultimately yields a portfolio between 120 and 150 securities with very attractive valuations.
Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Content is offered for information purposes only. Unless stated otherwise, any and all individuals participating in the video are third parties that include both professional investors and individual investors who may not be licensed or certified by any institute or regulatory body. Unless stated otherwise, the views or opinions expressed may not reflect those of Seeking Alpha as a whole. The accuracy and completeness of content shared cannot be guaranteed. Seeking Alpha does not take account of your objectives or financial situation and does not offer any personalized investment advice. Seeking Alpha is not a licensed securities dealer, broker, U.S. investment advisor, or investment bank.